So now we got to talk about our favorite thing, racism and discrimination. Welcome back to the Talks with Kadeja podcast. Your host, Kadeja, where you see me on Fridays and Sundays. Fridays, we talk about more of like a motivational sense, and Sundays, we talk a little bit more about a trend or entertainment that's happening and go a little bit deeper into that. So if you're interested in that, subscribe, because what are you doing? Like, you're gonna subscribe. So also my social media will be down below. So yeah, let's get started. The Victoria Fashion Show. Oh my goodness, I loved it. It was definitely a lot better than last year, because last year, I don't know, it just wasn't for me. But this year we saw so many inclusivity, we saw so many looks in the performances. Oh my gosh, like my favorite one was Madison Beer, Carl G, or is it Carol G? I don't know if I'm saying it right. If I'm saying it incorrectly, please correct me. And then Missy Elliott. I have my thing about Twice. I know it doesn't matter, but it was such an amazing show. And today we are going to talk about kind of the darker history of Victoria's Secret. Now, don't get me wrong, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of this stuff was years ago, and a lot of this stuff is, they're under new management, so a lot of things, unless it's something I don't know. And a lot of these things are not as like prominent anymore, and people are gonna be like, it's in the past, which I understand. So shut up. But really, this is just me speaking about the past, because I think sometimes we have to know the past and see how far something has came from to see the change that it has done. I love Victoria's Secret. I love the show. I love the clothes. I'm not saying that don't buy from them, don't look at them. And yeah, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like sometimes you need to look at stuff and see what is going on in the world, okay? Because sometimes you just need to understand like they came a long way, because some stuff they did, you're in for a treat. And some of you might already know this stuff, but you will be listening again. So we're first going to talk about the small, very tiny history of how Victoria's Secret even became a thing. It was founded by Roy Raymond in 1977, so a long time ago. And the reason he created this brand, which is interesting to me, because he felt uncomfortable one day because his wife was shopping, and he said it was a very uncomfortable experience for men. From what my research said, which I have my ideas about that. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like what? So I guess he made it a more pleasurable experience for men, which, okay, like, but that's the history of that. And he did it after Queen Victoria, which it actually makes sense. And I did not make the connection because a lot of the lingerie and a lot of the wear seemed very like Victoria era. Like, I really just thought they just named it that because of something different. But coming from Queen Victoria, more sophisticated, sexy look, I'm like, okay, that actually low-key makes sense. That's the very small history about it, and it became this big empire, and a lot of stuff happened, and yeah. So let's first talk about some of the controversies that Victoria's Secret kind of went through and kind of like what that meant. So anything with models, anything with women, especially in a more vulnerable and intimate way with lingerie, I just think controversy is just bound to happen because people just can't act normal, especially such a big company like Victoria's Secret. We were gonna start with harassment and abuse. So fun, right? Right. So Razik, he was the marketing officer at the time, a very high position in the Victoria's Secret. So he kind of just ran a lot of like what was happening in Victoria's Secret. This man is not great. So a high-ranking executive named Monica Mitro was harassed by him multiple times, and she reported it, was like, hey, like, this is not great. So they locked that girl out, which I'm like, and a lot of people are like, oh, that's not the reason, just because you reported him and he's a high-ranking thing. Like, yeah, it was the reason. Like, people be killing me. If you're gonna be honest, just be honest. Like, you did that because you was trying to save your reputation and your brand. And obviously he doesn't care about the brand that much if he's doing harassment and abuse, you know what I'm saying? And then he also said that transgender people should not be walking the runway. And in my head, I'm just like, you said that, and what you said was not okay, because anybody and everybody should be walking the runway because we are all beautiful and it doesn't matter. And he was the marketing officer, by the way, of Victoria's Secret. Wexner is another guy. He, I think, invested into Victoria's Secret and did a lot of money and gave a lot of money to Victoria's Secret. He was like an investor of something, from what I understand. And honey, baby, he was working with Epstein. He had a lot of connections with him in so many ways, gave the man a lot of things, and anything with Epstein is no good. So we're gonna leave that right there. But the man was working with Epstein, and I was like, already off the rip gone, off the rip terrible. Like, that's not okay. No, we don't do that. That's kind of a little bit of harassment abuse. There's so much more to it, but I just wanted to give you a small little rundown. So now we got to talk about our favorite thing, racism and discrimination. We're going to talk about body image norms. Victoria's Secret has had a lot of issues with racism, stereotypes, and body image type things. A lot of employees felt like, they felt like they were harassed, they felt like they were discriminated against in so many ways. And buying Victoria's Secret shows in the past, I understand, because it's definitely a lot different from what it used to be. There was an academic research done by, I can't pronounce the first university, but the second one I think is Waterloo University. And they did a study kind of talking about like how young women and girls kind of perceive Victoria's Secret. And a lot of it was basically saying how a lot of these women, and it kind of gives this mindset of you have to look a certain way and be a certain way to be accepted in society, and how the way Victoria's Secret has marketed their bras and their like lingerie over the years has caused a negative effect on women and young ladies, making them like with body dysphoria, eating disorders, and all that types. It's an academic research that I think is very interesting to check out if you're interested in learning more, but that's basically the basis of it. And we can even see that from like, I think making the comparisons of like what Victoria's Secret looked like from 20 years ago till now. And let me tell you how it looked. And you could even see a lot of these women were, when I mean thin, like it was like unhealthy. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to be skinny, I want to look like this. And I'm like, I'm all for you wanting to change yourself to feel confident in yourself. But if you're going to a point where you cannot literally, a lot of these models guarantee you have been through hospitals, they have had a lot of abuse going on and a lot of things going on with themselves and being forced to do this and forced to do that, because the model world is it's a lot better now, but back then it was, it still has its, downsides. But back then, like, if you weren't looking like this, baby, you're not getting on that stage. And if your face didn't look a certain way, and a lot of people always like, let's bring back the old way, which in my opinion, I'm like, most of those people that say that literally don't look like that. Baby, you don't even look like this, so why are you trying to bring back something that you never were? The extreme diets that they've done, the surgery that, I'm not saying all models do this, but you don't know what it really goes into doing that. So it does cause a lot of body dysmorphia, because I grew up in the age of, social media. Like, I'm a Gen Z, so obviously, I've seen everything. I think my brother's generation, my brother's a Gen Alpha. I think Gen Z has it bad, but I think they have it a lot worse, because they literally grew up in a time, they literally was born when social media was really like popping. I grew up, yes, with social media, but social media was more of a fun thing. And then probably by middle school, it started to become serious when I went in middle school, but I had a little bit of time, you know what I mean? So I think it teaches young girls and it teaches women you need to look a certain way. And that's why I really enjoyed the fashion show, because it kind of included everyone, and people that weren't known to be models, like Angela Reese, a basketball player, Olympian gymnast, The girl from Euphoria, like it added so many characters to it, and I think it shows that we're changing in different ways. So I definitely enjoyed that. I want to touch a little bit on cultural stereotypes. So Victoria's Secret thought this was okay, and it wasn't. And I was like, okay. During the 2010 Victoria's Secret show, there was a segment that was called Wild Things, and it caused controversy. And why, when you hear wild things, you probably think about a lot of things like exotic. That's probably the first thing you think about. And who do you think about when you think about exotic? Afro Brazilian model with black lines, and they were painted with body art, print, and lingerie, that type of thing. Very like animalistic, and it was seen as a very like stereotype appropriating. But yeah, that caused a lot of backlash. I think one thing that I want to say is it's very important to see who is creating this art and who is behind, who gets to produce these shows, who gets to produce these medias. Because if we're just gonna be honest, whoever probably produced that probably didn't even look like the model. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure, I don't know. But this model, she obviously was Afro Brazilian, and they had a idea of what that looks like, and they did that, and now you got backlash and controversy because it looks crazy. So that was a little bitty touch about all the controversies. There's definitely a lot more, but these are the ones that I touched on, like different controversies and different things that has happened with Victoria's Secret. So I want to bring this up for a few reasons. So this is kind of like our reflect session. And you can reflect, comment down what you think and what you feel. The reason I did this obviously is because Victoria's Secret show, like it was just about a week ago, so I still kind of freshly new. I better post it before like no one cares about it anymore. So the second thing that I really want to talk about is the conversation of who creates the art. I think it's important to see when you are watching something or when you're looking at something, you really need to look at who is creating this art, who is creating this media, because a lot of people have a perception of what a model looks like or what someone looks like. And that's why with the designers and people that run that scene, like a lot of them want the woman to be the outfit to embody the woman or embody the person that's modeling. And sometimes some people do it in a way that can be very offensive or controversial. So I think it's important to see who is creating that art. And if you're a designer or someone in entertainment and you're not very familiar with a culture or thing like that, you definitely need to work with somebody that is a part of that culture so you can learn from them and, create together, co-create. I think that's a great word, co-create. Because personally, me, I'm just one of those people, like, if you aren't the culture, you shouldn't do it. I'm just one of those. But there are times where, I think there's very certain situations that may not be the case. And I think you need to learn and educate yourself as much. You know what I'm saying? The second thing is body issues are real. It's a real thing. It's something that we all go through. A lot of people do. Don't ever judge those women that are doing that, because you never know what they're going through and you never know what they had to do to get there. And I'm not saying it in a bad or good way. I'm just saying, like, some people work genuinely really hard to get there. And some people, they nepotism, nepo babies. They was born that way. I would use my connections if I was born like that. So don't judge them either. That's just what it is. And thirdly, I could tell you to just love your body, but it's easier said than done. It's a process, it's in a journey. And I want you to know that you are living in your body. You are in charge of your body, and you're the only one that can make or break what your body's gonna be. And that's just how I'm gonna leave it, because I could sit here and be like, oh, love your body, love your body, love your body. But it ain't easy. And when you're looking at social media and all these other people that are doing the same thing, it's definitely not easy. But you need to really sit here and think about, okay, how am I going to give the best love to myself with the mindset that I have now? Sometimes you just got to meet yourself in the middle. And the third and last thing I really want to talk about is, I think even though a lot of this stuff happened like in the past, and I think Victoria's Secret is working on management and working on new things, the past is a past. Like, the past is important to learn and know so you don't make the same mistakes again. The past is for you to learn from and grow from. Sometimes it takes about a rebranding, sometimes it takes a few controversies, because I don't think controversy is always a bad thing. Hot take, but I don't, because I think it really teaches us how to learn and how to grow. Because if you don't ever have conflict, or if you don't ever have an education moment, you don't grow, you just sit there. So take what you will with that. But thank you guys for making it to the end of the episode. I love and I appreciate every last one of you. And if you have any trends or topics that are happening right now and you want me to go a little bit deeper about it, please let me know, because I'm open to new ideas and doing more research. And help me understand how to research and be a little bit, because I'm learning. This is a learning process. Some of the stuff I say may not have made sense, or I might not have did the best research, but this is a learning process, and I always acknowledge when I'm wrong. So please help me to learn, help me to educate myself. And if you're also interested in product, I do product photography and videography. You can follow my social media up here. I also have an Instagram where I kind of, give fitness tips. Also, I do commentary on trends. Please follow that. And I do a little modeling. And then also I have another TikTok where I kind of just show everything in the day of my life. So if you're just interested in just seeing what the fuck I do, please follow. And yes, thank you. And let's carry the conversation, guys. And thank you for this. And this is Talks with Kadeja. Thank you.